Yeah, it's kind of hard for us to sit on these bleachers. That's why that chair's in here. So everybody comfy? Well, as comfy as you're going to get anyway? Yeah. All right. Shia Nagada, Agahalishki, Dagoda, Galialiga, Honey Tiluki. Hello, everyone. My name is Chipper. We're glad you guys could join us today. Welcome to the Okanlupti Indian Village Council House. As you come in the door today, you'll notice that you did just come through a wide open doorway. Traditionally and historically, this would not have been the case. And the reason for that is because everything that happens in here and everything that is stored in here is of such importance it's not allowed to be seen from the outside. So the wide open doorway you just came through would have actually been a winding corridor. A council house varies in size depending upon the size of a village. A village can be anywhere from a few dozen homes up to a few hundred homes, and the council house has to be large enough to accommodate everyone, including the children. It has 7 sides and 7 sections of seating. That's because 7 is a sacred number to the Cherokee, so we also have 7 clans. We have wolf, bird, deer, wild potato, paint, blue, and long hair. And each one of these sections is designated for a specific clan, and only members of that clan can sit there. We are a matrilineal society, so everything gets passed down through the female, so you get your clan from your mother. I was born deer because my mother was deer, my grandmother was deer, and so on and so forth. And because clans are considered large families within a village, you're not allowed to marry within your own clan. So whenever you decide to take a spouse, you have to pick someone from one of the other 6 clans. For instance, whenever I got married, I married a man from the Bird clan, and because we are matrilineal, whenever he married me, he took my clan, and our children are my clan. Now my boys, when they go off and get married, they will take their wife's clan, and their children will be her clan. Below that, we have our eagle wands, and if you've not already gotten the Square Grounds lecture, it's going to be at the big sandy area at the top of the hill, and it'll be on the hour, and he's going to tell you all about those, or I think you'll have Rachel, actually. But below that, we have our white gourd dippers, and we use these with this big white bowl right here. We fill this bowl with pure spring water, and we paint these white because white is the color of purity and peace. So each clan has their own designated gourd dipper that only they are allowed to use, and we will come and drink from this bowl. And this purifies the mind and body. This is our purification ceremony. Now in the center of the room is our fireplace, and this fire is of such importance to the Cherokee that it's never allowed to go out. In fact, there are 2 men stationed in here whose only job in the village is to make sure that this fire burns at all times, and should it go out for any reason whatsoever, they would be put to death. On the outside is our 7-pointed wooden star. Each point corresponds with a specific clan, and the wood itself represents that each clan is responsible for bringing a specific type of wood to feed this fire over the course of the year. Now the only time this fire is ever allowed to die down is late October or early November, because this is green corn. This is the beginning of the new year for us. And so after we've let it die down, we take the embers and place them in this, and this is called a fire pot. And then we will set this aside while we clean out the fireplace. At the same time, women in the homes will clean out their fireplace, come here and get embers from the council house fire pot, take them back home and rekindle the fires in their homes. And this rids that home of any negative energies and evil spirits that have invaded the home over the previous year. Then once that's completed, we take the remaining embers, place them back into the fireplace, and rekindle the fire so it's never been allowed to go out. Behind me, we have our 3 headdresses. Each village had 2 chiefs. They had a peace chief and a war chief. The peace chief wears the yellow and the white, although the yellow he only wears at the time of his initial inauguration, and every 7 years when he retakes his oath as peace chief. The white headdress he wears during civil ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, council sessions, court proceedings, and things of that nature. Then in times of war, the peace chief will step down, and the war chief takes over. He wears the red along with that cape over there, which is made from the tail feathers of the wild turkey. It is trimmed in red and black because red signifies blood and victory, and black because it signifies death and hatred. The war chief, whenever he takes office, he pledges an oath to never wage war without due cause, and to never shed the blood of women, children, elderly, or anyone else who cannot defend themselves. And should he do so, he himself will be put to death. Over here on my right, this cape is made from the chest feathers of the wild turkey, and this is worn by our beloved woman. The beloved woman is either the widow of a chief or simply an elderly lady who is held in very high regard and very highly respected within the village. Each chief has a council consisting of members from each of the 7 clans. The beloved woman has her own council, except hers is made up of elderly women, and they are called the beloved women or the war women. And it is these ladies who determine the fate of prisoners. So should you commit a crime, whether it be against an individual or the village as a whole, these ladies are the ones who will decide what to do with you. They sit in on all council sessions leading up to and including whether or not to go to war, and because our women are so highly respected, the beloved woman herself has the power to veto any decision reached by the chief and his council.
You're here.
In 1830, Andrew Jackson signed what was called the Indian Removal Act. And what this was an act stating that all of the Native Americans from this portion of the United States be rounded up and forced onto reservations out in the West. About 20,000 of those were Cherokee, and unfortunately about 5,000 of us died along the way due to lack of food, shelter, illness, and poor treatment from the soldiers. The Cherokee that are out west are actually a completely separate tribe from us now. They are the Cherokee Nation, and we are the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, because we are the descendants of the ones who refused to leave. So when the soldiers came to round us up, we fled for the mountains and fought back, and because we were much more familiar with this terrain than the soldiers were, they couldn't catch us. So we took what money we could get together and gave to Will Thomas, because at this point in U.S. history, Native Americans were not allowed to own property, but Will Thomas, being a white man, could. But he also just happened to be one of us, because he was the adopted son of Drowning Bear, also known as Yonaguska. So he purchased this land here for us. So we technically are not a reservation because we own our land. It wasn't issued to us by the federal government. And I know whenever you come into town, you do see signs saying, "Welcome to the Cherokee Indian Reservation," and that's just to let you guys know where you are. Because if we put up a sign that just simply said, "Welcome to the Qualla Boundary," you wouldn't even know that we were here. So in 1924, when we became U.S. citizens, we placed our land in trust to the U.S. government. And what this means is our land can never be sold to outsiders, it can only be sold amongst ourselves, and it can only be leased for up to 25 years at a time. We are a sovereign nation, so we are our own country within the United States. We have our own judicial system, our own healthcare system, and our own school system. And although we choose to go by the state curriculum in our schools, we add our own history and culture as well. We also have an immersion school where children from 6 months up to middle school can go, and they're spoken to in nothing but Cherokee all day long except for 1 hour in English class. And the parents of those children also take classes so that they may be able to speak their native tongue at home. We are a completely self-sustaining nation, so we require no assistance from the federal government. But as you came through the village here today, you may or may not have been told that we do not have a word in Cherokee for goodbye, so I will say "Danadagahayu," which means until we meet again, because we do believe that even if we don't meet again in this life, we may still meet again in the next. So you guys have a good day.
Say that again. Beautiful.
Awesome.
What's that again?